Hey everybody, welcome back to the 360 Filmmaker discussion, and I'm here with Heidi Boucher, who made In the Parlor. We're also here with...
I'm Zach.
Justin.
Teleisia.
Puni.
So, tell us about your movie.
Oh my gosh, there's so much to tell. It's a documentary. It's about something that's really near and dear to my heart, because it's actually about death and dying and families who care for their own loved ones after death. So it's not your typical topic.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are kind of, what is this? What is it? I'm passionate about it because it's something that I actually do on the side. So I have one foot in the film industry, and then I have another foot where I care for the dead at home. And I thought, wow, why don't I take both and combine it, make a documentary. I'd never made a documentary before, and I thought, if you're going to make a documentary, make it about something that you're passionate about and that you know well. So I know about home funerals, and I know about caring for the dead at home. And I know a little bit about filmmaking. I've been in the industry for a long time. So I just did it. And
Was there something that triggered you, said like, I'm going to do this now?
you know, it was really interesting because I was working on another project, another film before. And I had spent a year writing the script. I pulled together crew. I worked with the author of the book that we were going to be doing the documentary about. And right after we got crew together and bought the plane tickets to go have our first interview in Colorado, she got cold feet. And I freaked out because I had spent a year writing a script and putting a lot of funds and energy around this other idea and concept, and then it just it went away in 5 seconds. And then I was working on another concept, and that also, for some unexplained reason, just dissipated. And I thought, well, I just need to bring it in. And I thought, okay, what do I know? What do I know really, really well? What's living in here, and what is important? And I thought, okay, let's just do it. And at the time, I just had, this is kind of funny, kind of embarrassing, but I had a little flip camera. Do you remember those?
Your flip video?
Yeah. They were around for about 4 minutes,
Yeah.
and then they left. And I had a situation where one of the subjects in my film was dying and eventually died after a few days. And I didn't want to bring a whole crew in yet. I wanted to test the waters. So I literally said to the family, are you guys okay with me pulling out my little flip camera? And they said, yeah, and I got a lot of footage just with that.
Did the footage come into the final?
Oh yeah, it's quite a bit, which is ironic and funny. Go flip. I don't need your epic camera. So it started growing.
Did you know how, did you have any idea of like distribution, like what the end piece was going to be and how you were going to get it out there? Because like with documentaries, there's multiple options. You just had to make it?
I knew I needed to make it, and I knew that I needed to get it out into the world. And everybody kept saying, well, what's your distribution plan? What's your distribution plan? You got to have a plan, la, 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 la. And I said, you know what? It's going to happen, but it has to happen on my terms. It has to feel right, because this is not the kind of topic that most people are going to look at and say, yes, we feel that we have a market for this. And it's not your typical film. In fact, it's pretty atypical, I think. Right? I mean, so...
There's no category on Netflix?
No, not yet. I mean, I think it falls into social humanity kind of things, cultural stuff. But I felt like I needed to just see where the vibe was and check it out. So I took it on the road and spent several weeks marketing it that way and showing it to people and doing little in-house screenings, doing it in smaller house theaters, schools. I just took it out. And that's how I am doing it now. And yeah, am I going to get rich on this? No. But because I know the topic so well, and it's what I do, I'm able to say, hey, you got to check this out. And I can answer a lot of questions behind it. So it's kind of in a different basket, if you will, I think.
So you start off small with the flip cam and then you grew.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So after I got some footage, I realized, okay, this can be bigger, and this needs to be bigger. And I contacted some friends in the industry, Rubi and Sketchly, to see if they wanted to help co-produce and edit and work on it. And then I hired colleagues of mine in the industry. And that was a process too, because I felt like, okay, here's a topic that's very sensitive. It's very mysterious. There's already taboo stuff around it. I need to find the right people, the right crew that will be able to show up in a house after a person has just died and not be, hey, yo, dude, working on their phone and, somebody's crying. They had to be extraordinarily aware and quiet and hold themselves in a way. And I found those people. I had those people. Thank God.
Aaron Leong helped out?
Brian Ham,
Brilliant.
Aaron Leong, Robert Neely, and others, Ian Webb.
Okay.
I'm going to forget people, I'm sure, but these were people that could be very sensitive to what was going on.
Did you have an idea of the structure, or was it just kind of nebulous and something you'd figure out as you...
So as you know, with documentary, you kind of have to just run and gun and go. I decided that I needed to get the footage first and then sort it out later. Because you don't know who's going to die. I can't predict something like this. So the first subject, if you will, I shot it on the flip camera. And then many months went by and I got a phone call from another family that wanted to have me help them care for their loved one at home. Her name was Julie. And as I was meeting with them and talking to them, all of a sudden I thought, oh my God, this family would be perfect to follow and film. They were so open and she was so vivacious and they just had the right vibe around them. And so I remember sitting on the couch and going through paperwork, and we're talking about home death care and and some of the things that are involved. And I just stopped and I felt kind of crass and a little bit vulgar. And I said, do you guys want to be in a documentary? And here this woman's like dying, And she just lit up. And she said, yes, I would love to help you. Wow. So she gave us permission to follow her for a year as she was going on this journey of dying. And it was remarkable because she, I think for her and her family tells us this now, that it gave her such joy to be talking about her own death and what she was going to do, what she was going to wear, and her brother was building a casket, and they were going to go here and there, and she was going to be driven to this place, and just this whole hands-on family thing. It was really, really incredible.
And it was all her, I guess, trying to find closure with everything and go along with it.
Yeah, and because she was so into home funerals, and because her sister had died, and they took care of the sister at home, and they took care of the parents in the same way. she was really advocating this work. I mean, it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
That's great.
Yeah. And then the other subject, I wanted to show an elderly person and then a young person and then a person who was actively preparing and planning her death, or her end of life stuff. So there was a young man who in the film, I contacted their family and I asked them, can I interview you even though it's been several years since Jared died? Can we still interview you and put in some stills and stuff? And they were really open to it. And that was another interesting thing. Sorry if I'm talking too much, but I get excited. The father of the boy who died, we were just getting audio set up, and he's a very strong, powerful man. I think you might have seen him in that clip. And we're sitting down, and usually before I interview somebody, it's like, tell me your name, what color car do you drive, what's the name of your dog, just to check audio, right? So after we did that, then I usually follow in with, now tell me your name and where do you live, and just kind of give us a little thing. And I thought, I'm going to just launch right in and ask him how his son was killed. Just like, bam!
Mm-hmm.
But that worked perfectly for the situation. I would never do that. I would never think to do that. Like, that's just, taboo or whatever. But there was something about the situation that called for it. And he said later that he had not shared that story. Everybody knew the story, but he himself had not talked about it publicly, and I got it on film. So that was like huge and made the difference, I think. So, yeah.
So how long did it take you to gather the footage?
Took about 5 years.
Wow.
Total. And from the first day of shooting, from the first day of pulling out the flip camera to the last shooting on a Sony 300, blah, 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 to completion was 6 years. 5.5, 6
Were you
years.
editing throughout?
No. Oh, and back to your question, I didn't quite answer it, but when we got about 80 hours of footage, and then after I got all the footage, all 80 hours of it was transcribed. Because I thought, I have to make a script out of this.
Mm-hmm.
So it took another 9 months to transcribe the footage, and then I have this huge binder of every word, and then I went through it page by page, word by word, and said, okay, I'm going to make a script out of it so that I can give it to the editor so he has something to work with. And then we started from there. So then he did a rough edit of the script. And then we started tweaking it and adjusting it, and then cutting. So the first pass through, or the first film, based on the script, was like 2.5 hours long. And we're like, no, we got to get that down. So then we started pulling and working, and we worked, very closely together on that.
And what's the runtime now?
1 hour and 18 minutes.
Okay.
17, 18 minutes.
And you started exhibition, just small venues and...
Yep, I started submitting it to film festivals and had a certain amount earmarked for festival submission, because as you know, it's very expensive. I submitted it to 20 film festivals because that's all I could really afford, and got accepted into 5, which that's a pretty high percentage rate.
Yeah.
And had I had more money, I would have done more, because I feel very strongly that I would have gotten into more. And I had leveled it out. We did an A level, we did a B level, we did a C level, we did a whole tier level of, Tribeca and Sundance, A level, and then, so I thought, well, let's stick with the B level. We'll throw a couple of C levels in there, but let's see what we can get. And, it was good. It was really good. And then we would get feedback from some of the film festivals a little bit too. That was helpful and not so helpful.
Were you able to attend some?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of them.
All of them?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and then we won awards for Best Documentary too. So, yeah. But I've taken it to, as I said, small theaters like in Portland and Eugene and Washington, Vancouver. It's been shown all across the country. It's been shown in England. It's been shown in Australia, in South America. Atlanta, all over, New York. So people are screening it, and the response has been kind of overwhelming.
And you're still hosting screening.
Yeah.
How long has it been out?
2 years.
2 years.
Exactly.
Okay. Is it available online or?
No, not yet.
Is that something you're working on, or you just don't want to do it?
I'm not working on it right now because I'm so focused on taking it out. So what's happened, and this is kind of the thing, as part of that distribution thing that people say, well, what are you doing? So, and because there are these two hats, there's the filmmaker hat and then there's the topic hat. I have to kind of go back and forth. And when people call and say, oh, we want to do a screening, great, filmmaker lady comes in. And then they say, well, and then can you do a Q&A after? Okay, you're still thinking they're going to ask about the film. Well, no, they actually want to know about the content.
Mm-hmm.
So it's become this educational piece, and I hate saying, oh, it's educational, but the reality is people are, they're eating it up. They want to know. And then they buy it and they send it to their mother or their brother or whatever. So right now I'm able to have a screening, stand there and talk about it, and people want to know about, well, does the body start stinking after 3 days, or is it illegal, or all these different things. And then I'm selling them right there. So it's very rare that a week goes by where I'm not selling at least one or two copies. Or then somebody will pony up and pay for a more expensive educational screening license. So I did, I structured that and did all that. I'm not getting rich. I'll never be able to pay for it, I'm sure. But it's not what it's about for me. It's more about this educating people in the fact that they can care for their own loved ones after they die. So.
Yeah.
Question? Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yay.